Okay, we're going to look at how to do channel packing in Affinity Photo. So channel packing is commonly associated with texture work. So what I've got here are several different texture maps that are going to make up a material. So what I'll do is just select all of these and drag them into Photo. Okay, and you'll notice some of these have been assigned a grayscale color profile, some of them a typical sRGB. And it's the grayscale images we're interested in. So for the purposes of this video, I'm going to close down the normal map and the base color map, leaving us with roughness, ambient occlusion, and metallic. So there are two reasons why we would do this so-called channel packing. The first is workflow based, say when we're working with our rendering engine and it has a node-based material editor. It's a lot more efficient rather than having these as separate maps that we then attach to the material's input nodes, to just have one single texture where we can then take the red, green and blue channel outputs and use those instead. So the second reason is for compression efficiency. Quite a few engines only have RGB format support, so either grayscale images wouldn't even be importable, or if they were imported, they would become RGB images instead. Now obviously with a grayscale image, you have an intensity channel and an alpha channel. Whereas if they then become RGB images, you then effectively have 3 copies of the same channel data, and that's an inefficient use of disk space. So to get around this, what we do instead is import one image file, but the red, green and blue channels each contain one of these grayscale maps. So quite a popular one would be the RMA workflow. That's roughness, metallic and ambient occlusion. And that's what we're going to create here. So let's go ahead and recreate this workflow. Now, in terms of resolution, we're working with 4096 by 4096. So we can go to File, New, and we'll just in the page width and height type 4096. 4096, leave it at 72 dpi, and the color format wants to be RGB 8 or 16-bit. Click OK. Okay, so we're going to follow the RMA order, so roughness, metallic, and then ambient occlusion. So we'll switch across to roughness, go to Edit, Copy, and then on our new document, we'll go to Edit, Paste. Okay, at this point I'm going to drag the channels panel out, just so we can see what we're doing. Right, so this layer that we've now got here is entirely transient. We're not going to keep it. What we are going to do is copy the channel information here. So any one of these channels are going to be the same since it's a grayscale image. So we can right-click background red and create spare channel. So then we right-click spare channel and we're going to call this roughness. Okay, then we can just right-click this layer and delete it. Okay, then we'll go across to metallic and we'll do the same thing. Edit, Copy, Edit, Paste. And once again, right-click background red, create spare channel. This time we're going to rename it metallic. And then again delete the layer since we no longer have need of it. Then again do the same for ambient occlusion. Edit, Copy, into the new document, Edit, Paste. Once again, right-click background red, create spare channel, right-click, rename, and we'll just call this AO for short, and delete the pixel layer. So then we can create an entirely new blank pixel layer, and the first thing we'll want to do is fill the alpha in. So we can just right-click Pixel Alpha and choose Fill. Okay, this is an important step. If we don't fill this pixel layer with 100% opacity alpha, then we won't actually see any of the channel information we're loading in. So then we're going to load roughness to red, metallic to green, and ambient occlusion to blue. So I can right-click roughness, load to pixel red, right-click metallic, load to pixel green, and right-click ambient occlusion, load to pixel blue. Okay, so the final composite of these three channels looks rather odd, but if we isolate each channel individually by clicking on them here, we can see we've now loaded our three grayscale texture maps into an RGB document. So all that remains to do is to go ahead and export this RGB document to a multi-channel format. So that could be PNG or it could be TIFF. Ideally, you want to use something lossless. Now, you might be saying to me right now, this is a bit of a long-winded approach. Why create a new document when I could have just used one of these? Which is a fair point. So I'm going to close all these down. And let's just take a look quickly at a different set of texture maps. So this time we've got displacement, occlusion and specular. So I'll click drag these in once again to photo. Okay, so this time these are all RGB documents. So another approach that's just as valid as the one I've just shown you is we can just take one of the existing documents or images and copy the other channels into that. So let's take occlusion, go to edit, copy, go back to displacement, edit, paste. Okay, and then we can say right click background green, create spare channel, rename the spare channel to occlusion. And then we don't need that pixel layer anymore, so we can delete it. Then we'll do the same for the specular. So edit, copy, back to the displacement image, edit, paste, right click the channel, create spare channel, right click, rename, specular. And once again, delete the pixel layer. So then, as it stands, let's say our exported RGB image wants to have displacement as the red channel. So that's fine, we don't need to touch that. So then we can just right-click occlusion and load to background green. Then right-click specular and load to background blue. Okay, so once again the composite image looks very bizarre, but again, if we isolate the channels, we'll see here we've got displacement, occlusion and specular. So as before, I'll just reset the channels and we can just go ahead and export that to a multi-channel format like PNG or TIFF. So there we go. I hope that was helpful in clarifying that you can indeed use Affinity Photo for channel packing if you're doing texture work. If you have any questions or queries, please do ask on the Affinity forums, and don't forget to check out the other video tutorials. Thank you for watching.